This is a 65-year-old gentleman with a focal lesion in the uncinate process of the pancreas, representing either a cyst or a mass or a metastasis to the pancreas. We are going to examine the area with a curvilinear echoendoscope. You can see the transducer covered with a fluid-filled balloon, and a sheath is seen protruding from the instrument channel. A 22-gauge needle is exiting from the sheath, and an elevator controls the excursion of the needle. Prior to FNA, the FNA device will be assembled. This is a one-stage 22-gauge needle by Wilson Cook. A stylet is placed within the needle and can be easily moved back and forth. Nitinol provides flexibility of the sheath. Accompanying the needle is a syringe. The syringe has a plunger and a stopcock in order to provide vacuum within the syringe. The syringe is attached to the needle once the needle has been placed within the cystic lesion. Opening of the stopcock aspirates the fluid from the cystic lesion for later analysis. This technique requires a transgastric or transduodenal FNA, usually with a 22-gauge needle. The stylet is placed to prevent contamination by gastric and duodenal epithelium. The cyst fluid's contents are completely evacuated with one passage of the needle. Antibiotics are administered to provide assurances against infection, particularly in those cystic lesions with residual fluid in place. This usually is performed as an outpatient. On this examination, we can see this multicystic lesion in the head of the pancreas. A vast majority of the lesion is composed of locules that are very small and barely evident to the eye. Color Doppler fails to reveal any evidence of large vessels coursing through the cystic lesion. On a more careful examination, we can see evidence of discrete locules containing fluid. But there are no large locules, and the vast majority of the lesion is composed of a sponge-like material. Fine needle aspiration is easily performed with a 22-gauge needle through the duodenum. The needle is placed into one locule in order to aspirate fluid for cyst fluid analysis. Usually one passage of a needle is all that is required for sufficient fluid aspiration and cytologic material. In this example, the fluid should be non-viscous and fairly easily aspirated into the 22 or 25-gauge needle. Once the fluid has been aspirated, it can be examined by pouring from the test tube. We can see a non-viscous, non-mucoid fluid, slightly reddish and yellowish in color. This is characteristic of a serous-cystadenoma. The stylet is placed down through the needle and used to extrude the cytologic material from the needle onto glass slides. The cytologic material is placed diffusely across the glass slide, and then a second glass slide is used to smear the cytologic material into a fine, thin film. Staining of the material reveals multiple small cuboidal benign cells without evidence of mucin. There is no malignancy. If an ERCP was performed, we could see an attenuated pancreatic duct. An angiogram revealed a highly vascular lesion, and a CT classic imaging could reveal a central stellate scar. In summary, we have a small vascular lesion in the head of the pancreas representing a serous cystadenoma, a microcystic lesion, benign in nature, without evidence of mucin or mucinous epithelium. The epithelium lining it is small, thin cuboidal cells that are PAS positive, representing glycogen within the epithelium.